What is up, my friends across the pond? It's been a while since I've done a reaction specific to the UK, and I thought it was about time. So today I'm going to be reacting to some cultural aspects of the United Kingdom, which maybe a lot of younger people don't know, specifically music. And I thought, what better way to really delve into cultural music from the United Kingdom than to look at the band Steeleye Span. This was a band that formed, I believe, in the early 1970s, perhaps mid-1970s. But they play folk music from the British Isles, England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland even. And I find their music very intriguing because they play this folk music with these wonderful instruments and these wonderful vocalists, but they play them to electric instruments. Not entirely, but for the most part, you'll hear rock and roll drum beats, sort of, and you'll hear bass guitar, and you'll hear some electric guitar, and it's really cool. So in order for us to understand this band, I'm going to start with the very first introduction to their debut album, which was Hark the Village Wait. And they introduced this by sort of acting as though they were part of this, minstrel group that just maybe traveled from village to village and introducing what their music was about. And so we're going to start with that, but then we're going to go, and it's very short. Then we're going to go into one of my absolute favorite songs called Dark-Eyed Sailor. Okay, so stick with me here and let's get to it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It helps me out a whole lot.
Good people, pray heed our petition. Your attention we beg and we crave, and if you are inclined for to listen, an abundance of pastime we'll have. We are come to relate many stories concerning our forefathers' times, and we trust they will drive out your worries.
You can just see how they're evoking that, old-time minstrel where they might travel from town to town to tell stories through song, because it was the way that they could tell stories. The average person in the ages that these related to didn't necessarily have books or easy access to reading or easy, or literacy even. So this is how they did it.
We are all in one mind. Many tales of the poor and the gentry, of labor and love will arise. There are no finer songs in this country, in Scotland and Ireland likewise. There's one thing more needing mention, the dances we've danced all in fun. So now that you've heard our intention, we'll play on to the beat of the drum.
So far, you can hear what I mean about the straight up sort of rock rhythm, rock groove on the drums, the bass guitar, the electric instruments, but yet it already starts out at like this iconic folk song, and it's somebody else sort of observing the story. She is taking a walk outside, and she observes this lady fair speaking with a sailor, and she stopped to listen to what they may say, and now that leads into the story.
He said, "Fair lady, why do you roam? For the day is spent and the night is on." She heaved a sigh while the tears did roll. For my dark-eyed sailor, for my dark-eyed sailor, so young and stout and bold. 'Tis said a ring he took from off his lily white hair. One half of the ring is still here with me, but the others rolling, at the bottom of the sea.
Ooh, I always love that line. So, he's asking her what's wrong, and her lover went off to sea. And I feel like this is probably just a very common theme, being such a seafaring culture in Britain, that these folk songs and folk art would be centered around people going off to sea and will you ever see them again? And in this instance, her dark-eyed sailor left and broke his ring in half and gave her half and took his to the ocean with him. And she's saying the other half is rolling at the bottom of the sea, so she assumes he's lost at sea after 7 years of not having seen or heard from him. And she's still mourning that loss, and that's where the story is right now.
He said you may drive him out of your mind. Some other young man you will surely find.
Some other man you will surely find.
Love turns aside and soon cold does grow. Like a winter's morning, like a winter's morning, the hills all white with snow.
This music is so cool. It really evokes the old-time folk art and that sea shanty type of music with these modern instruments playing on top of classic like folk instruments. It's just really cool.
She said, "I'll never forsake my dear, although we're parted this many a year. Gentle he was, and no rake like you, to induce a maiden, to slide to jacket blue."
She is going to be faithful and loyal to her lover that she lost 7 years ago at sea.
One half of the ring did young William show. She ran distracted
didn't recognize him, it was him. He gave the other half of the ring back, and then she realized who it was, and it's just, and then the other lyrics was where they both proved themselves to each other. They waited for each other all that time. I'm going to back up a second. They got married. Oh, what a pleasure that was. It never gets old to me. So if you hadn't picked up on it, it was him all along. He presented the other half of the ring, and she finally recognized who he was after all those years and had passed the test of fidelity and loyalty. I understand that this, comes from a poem and had been sung in folk music for many years. Going back all the way back to the 1800s, and it's sort of this classic tale of test of loyalty and fidelity, like Homer's Odyssey. Odysseus returns home after all those years, and his Penelope, I think her name was, his wife, didn't recognize him at first, but he tested her loyalty to be sure that he was faithful to her all those years, and he was. And it's along the same lines as that classic tale. So I just think that Steeleye Span is just this wonderful bit of relatively modern, although they're from the 70s. I think they've played through the 80s, 90s, and maybe into the 2000s. Maybe they're still playing, I'm not really sure. But, they take this classic bit of British, folk art and folk music and turn it into something modern and really cool. So thanks for watching, my friends. I'll see you soon.